We begin with North Carolina lawmakers getting closer to legalizing online sports betting in the state. State senators passed their version of the bill just this morning. It would allow most people over the age of 21 to bet on sports online. The bill would allow online bets on professional sports, college sports, esports, Olympic events, and horse racing. People would not be able to place bets on tribal land, though, and you won't be able to bet on youth sports online. You can't bet on injuries, penalties, the outcome of disciplinary proceedings, or the outcome of replay reviews. You also cannot place pool bets. Fantasy sports betting online would still be illegal. The American Gaming Association says sports betting alone brought in $7.5 billion last year. More states are moving to legalizing sports betting and online sports betting as well. Dana Jacobson has a look at the industry as well as the downsides.
This is just another way that people like to predict things during the game. It gives them that deeper engagement or connection with their friends.
Matt Kalish is the North American president of DraftKings, one of the most prominent mobile sports betting sites.
All right, it all comes down to this. The Giants score and our guy brings home the bacon.
If you've watched TV recently, you've probably seen their commercials. Calls to bet on sports with just the tap of a finger.
We're still seeing growth every year. And the bigger force, though, is it's a state-by-state rollout.
Sports betting in the U.S. has exploded since a 2018 Supreme Court decision struck down a federal ban outside Nevada. New Jersey leads the charge. With more than $21 billion in bets since 2018, the state has taken in more than $1.5 billion in revenue, with New York set to collect 51% of the state's mobile betting revenue. It's expected to leap to the top. But where does that money go? Under state law in New York, about 80% of its revenue is flagged for two purposes: elementary and secondary education and property tax relief.
The tax revenue often goes towards a cause that's near and dear. One that stands out to me is like in Colorado, they were looking to fund more clean water projects, and the sports betting bill was tied directly to that cause. So it's really something that helps fund projects that were underfunded in the past.
But critics say there's a cost no financial gain can offset.
People who look at this and say it's not good say you're encouraging people, making it easier for people who might have a gambling problem to have access to it. How do you respond to that?
You know, on the responsible gaming front, there's a lot of controls that consumers directly, you can set your time limit, you can set your deposit limit, you can opt out from ever playing, you can opt out of marketing, things like that.
Would someone do that if they have an addiction? Would they necessarily take those steps to help themselves?
Well, it's not only those controls that the user sets themselves, and because it's online, because the transactions are all tracked in a database, we're able to detect any sort of unhealthy gaming behavior and take action, even if the customer doesn't ask for that.
It's a start, says Dr. Timothy Fong, a professor of psychiatry at UCLA who focuses on gambling addiction.
There's some concern there. There's concern there that if we go too quickly, we may end up creating more harm than good. We may end up suppressing the discussion of how to do proper prevention, how to actually do treatment.
Dr. Fong says it's a shared responsibility between consumers, regulators, and the gaming industry to reduce harm from gambling disorders.
Having national and local discussions about problem gambling and prevention, teaching our young people not to avoid gamble, but how to handle losing, how to handle losses. I think particularly in the sports betting world, it's trying to disentangle this connection we made with sports and gambling being so embedded, kind of like steak and lobster. And it would be, I think, much more helpful if we can figure out how to keep those forms of entertainment separate, but not necessarily equal and dependent on one another.
A study done last year found that more than 10 million adults have tried to get help for addiction to gambling. The National Council on Problem Gambling estimates 2 million adults in the United States have a gambling addiction. Another 4 to 6 million are considered to have mild or moderate gambling problems. Approximately 85% of adults have gambled at least once in their lives, 60% in the past year. Well, with more and more states legalizing sports betting, the National Problem Gambling Helpline Network says in 2021 it experienced a 45% jump in calls from the year prior. Experts say a person should seek help if they feel the need to be secretive about their gambling, if they have trouble controlling their gambling and can't walk away, they gamble even when they don't have the money, or if family or friends are worried about them. Experts recommend a wide array of treatment options for gambling addiction, including professional and non-professional treatment, along with self-help. A good place to start if you need help or you know someone who does is the National Council on Problem Gambling. It operates a hotline. You can call the helpline at 1-800-GAMBLER. Help is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can call or text. A recent financial analysis of the online sports betting bill found that in the first year alone, it could generate $10.3 million for the state. It has the potential to generate $58.9 million by 2028.
A lot of people in North Carolina are either going across state lines to Virginia or Tennessee, or they're using offshore sports books or betting with an illegal bookie. So what this does is this legalizing it allows the state to put some safeguards on it, some consumer-friendly regulations in place, and it also allows the state to recoup some tax money from a practice that millions of Carolina residents enjoy.
The bill includes an 18% tax rate for betting operators. The tax revenue will be used to fund gambling addiction education and treatment with the State Department of Health and Human Services. It also goes to expand youth sports, provide extra funding for collegiate sports programs, and gives funding to the NC Outdoor Heritage Advisory Council. Money would also go toward the major events like Games and Attractions Fund. Well, now that the bill has passed the Senate, it goes back to the House so the representatives can approve those changes made. If the House passes the bill, then it goes to Governor Cooper's desk. As for when we could actually see legalized online sports betting in North Carolina, experts predict it will be sometime next year.